So 18 years after the original release, Mafia Definitive Edition has now been out for about a week. It'll be a week old on October 2nd, so tomorrow as of this recording, and this is a game I was interested in because of my experience prior with the series. I played Mafia 2 as my entry to the series back in 2015 when it was free with games with gold. So I played that and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic and just yet another gem of games from 2010. Like, people forget, but 2010 had like an amazing roster of games. Like, that year was absolutely amazing for gems and contenders for possibly greatest of the generation, if not of all time. And Mafia 2 to me definitely stands the test of time. Well, I haven't played it since then, so it's possible it's aged poorly, which it wouldn't surprise me if it has. It's been 10 years, but at least going off of pure memory and my enjoyability from the experience with that game, it definitely did have the potential to be one of the best of its generation. And seeing the announcement of this remake earlier this year was nice because I have never played the original game, and considering how old the game is and how outdated it looks, the last thing I want to do is try to get used to that style. Like, I love the Fallout series. Like, I even have a Fallout New Vegas poster, so shout out to any New Vegas fans who watch my channel, but as much as I love that series, I just can't get into Fallout 1 and 2, dude. I just can't. Like, I appreciate and respect those games, but I just can't get into them. They're just too out of date for me, and that's how it is for Mafia 1 with me. Like, I can't get into it. But thankfully, this remake solves that issue. Just like Final Fantasy VII, this is yet another remake from this year where I didn't play the original, with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater being the only one that I'm familiar with from prior experience, since I do have some history skateboarding during my childhood, which is for another day, perhaps a story at some other point in the future. But anyways, so my experience with this game overall, fantastic. I haven't played the original, but I can honestly say that this is great. This is a classic mobster story that, yes, does have some outdated moments. Some of the missions are absolutely outdated in design and are very annoying and a pain in the ass, albeit not as bad as some other games with those tropes. But they're still annoying, and we will get into them. But overall, my experience was very positive. Starting off with the story, fantastic writing. It captivated me right from the very beginning and kept my attention all the way to the very end. Now, keep in mind, I completed the game over multiple sessions, since I didn't spend like 5 to 10 hours per one session, maybe like a few hours at most. But every time I was done with a session, the game just left me with the feeling of wanting to come back for more, to see where the story goes next. And on top of that, when you have characters as great as this game does, the main protagonist Tom, for example, who I don't think I like as much as Vito from Mafia 2, but I think is definitely a solid enough character on his own. Definitely not the most interesting character of all time, nowhere near that point, but definitely a good enough character in his own right. Same with characters like Sam, Polly, who are definitely some of my favorites, especially Polly. Like, he is a bro throughout the game, and one of the most entertaining. But overall, from start to finish, the story does a great job with its twists and turns, as well as just fleshing things out. And the best part about it is that there really isn't any filler at all. Like, I can't really think of anything that I could really consider filler. Like, even the annoying out-of-date missions, like, even those I couldn't consider filler because of the significance they had in the story. This was just a straight shot 10-hour-long story from start to finish. Yes, it is an open world map that you can play around and ride in, especially in the free roam mode once you complete the... No, not once you complete the game. Once you complete the first mission, you can enter a free roam mode for anyone who just wants to fuck around and drive around in the map. But, it's not one of those games where you're going to have a lot of side activities for those who aren't familiar. It was the same with Mafia 2. I don't know how it was done with Mafia 3. I think that game had side content. I'm not sure. I haven't done my research in it. Maybe I'll play it someday, but at least for right now, I know jack shit about the game. But going into this, you're going into a linear, story-focused game. And in my opinion, that works to its benefit. Some may consider that outdated. I consider that to be something that's actually aged well. throughout gaming, because let's be real here, a lot of games have way too much content, and a lot of games are way too much long, packed with far too much filler than they have any right to be. And the fact that this is only 10 hours and it's so high in quality throughout the entire duration of my playtime, to me, leaves behind a far better experience than something that's like 100 hours long with like 50 hours worth of filler, which I couldn't care less about. But like I said, there are some flawed, outdated missions, which I definitely do agree with when it comes to those criticisms. Like, there's the escort mission that you do, which isn't as bad as some other games that it's been in, but the fact that there's even an escort mission here, it's like, this is a remake, so how about you remake this escort mission the fuck out of this game? And then there's also the racing mission, which I guess isn't as outdated of a concept, but it's like, I don't care to try to be put into a racing challenge. I just want to get this out of the way and move on. Like, I think it was a little too difficult for, like, any difficulty you set it on. Like, if it's on easy, it feels more like normal. If you're playing the game on normal, it feels more like hard. Like, it was just annoying. And there was also the trailing mission. It's like, ugh, seriously? You couldn't boot that one too? Maybe turn it into a cutscene? Yeah. So, it definitely has its flaws. It definitely does at times remind you that this is, in fact, a game that is almost 20 years old. I know that's probably hard to believe. The game is this old. Time fucking flies. But all in all, the game is fantastic. I absolutely loved it, and regardless of its grievances, and yes, it can be a little too linear at times too, I'll admit, but overall, that doesn't bother me because of just how high in quality as an overall game it is compared to the flaws which may be annoying at moments when you're playing the game, but in the overall grand scheme of things, like, yeah, there's something you think about, but it doesn't affect your enjoyability too much. Like, it's just good enough to where the pros outweigh the cons. And again, I'd rather take a 10-hour long quality game like this over something that's filled with tons of tedious filler padding bullshit. Like, as much as I love Red Dead Redemption 2, it's one of my all-time favorite games. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. As much as I love that game does have its flaws, and there was a good amount of filler, and there was times where I was like, okay, can we just get to the fucking point? Can we get to there being some more action, please? Please, can we just get to there being some more action? I'm getting a little fatigued here. This game, I didn't feel that. It was just straight up, okay, what's happening next? Ooh, I'm excited to play that. Ooh, that next mission's gonna be fun. Ooh, that's gonna be fun too. And even if the missions sound tedious when they're being explained in the cutscenes, they end up being fun when you're actually playing them, except for the few really outdated ones, again. But yeah, all in all, this is fantastic. This is yet again another great remake from 2020. This year has been really good when it comes to those. Again, Final Fantasy VII, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2, and now this is added to the list. As for remasters, there's Crysis, which is fucking shit on PC. I tried it. Even at the lowest possible settings, it wasn't running for shit. And you know what? I gotta mention that about Mafia 2. I forgot to mention that. PC optimization is not perfect. Like, I crashed once, is something I should have mentioned earlier. I had to fuck around with updating drivers and whatnot, and the only reason my drivers were out of date is because of Modern Warfare one day completely, like, nearly breaking my PC because of whatever the Season 1 update did to the game on PC. So I, like, fucked around with the drivers, upgraded my PC, then the game ran fine. And then this game runs into issues. I update the drivers to the most modern version of what they are currently for AMD, and now the game runs fine. Because there was a constant loading issue where the game wouldn't move beyond, like, the 4th chapter until everything was up to date. Like, as much as I love PC gaming, and even though it is my preferred platform, it still can be a fucking frustrating pain in the ass, and even though PC gaming has improved when it comes to developers and publishers taking it seriously, there's still a lot of work to be done. But that's another topic. And, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Fantastic remake, and I absolutely recommend this. Go out and give this a shot. Like, even if mobsters are not your thing, this is still a great story from start to finish. Definitely try it out. And that's the review. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe for future content coming soon, and turn on the notification bell and set it to all notifications. The constant stuttering. And I will see you all next time, but until then, I'm out. Later.